Now, let's welcome in Alabama Congressman Mo Brooks. Congressman Brooks is on the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, great to see you again.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. As always, we condemn all illegal acts of trespassing on government property. We also condemn violence here. This isn't quite the same thing as the Capitol riot as well, not as big. But the question is this a glimpse into our future? I mean, we had Maxine Waters calling for more confrontation. Certainly looks like that guy who got up in the face of the lawmakers is down for more confrontation.
Well, it's a glimpse not only of the future, but also the past. We've seen what has happened in places in Minnesota. We've seen what's happened in places in Oregon and other parts of the United States of America, particularly those cities that are governed by rather weak anti-law enforcement socialist Democrats. And this is going to be in the future of all America if we don't stand up for law and order and make sure that our law enforcement community understands that we're going to have their back like they have our back when our lives as citizens are at risk.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that we cannot make clear enough is there is a difference between getting a permit, going to the town square, or marching in the streets legally, and showing up at the U.S. Capitol or a state capitol and shutting down business and forcing other lawmakers into shutdown. But, of course, I don't think this will get a lot of coverage anywhere besides Oklahoma City and maybe here on Newsmax.
Well, under the First Amendment, you have the right to protest. You have the right to freedom of speech. You have the right to petition the government for redress of your grievances. You have the right to be rather rambunctious. You just can't commit criminal acts while you're engaged in those kind of protest activities. That's the line. That's what people need to be aware of. And I hope that the American citizenry will stay on the law and order side of that line, not go over the edge. But if you do go over the edge, you better expect consequences. Yeah. I'm one of those that believes that those who do go over the edge, who engage in violence, who engage in arson, who engage in riotous type conduct that hurts others, they need to be punished.
Right. They should be prosecuted. I want to talk about the Capitol riot and Officer Brian Sitnick. Senator Ron Johnson is now demanding to know why Officer Sitnick died from, quote, injuries sustained while on duty at the Capitol on January 6th. That's still the official line of the story, according to the Capitol Police. Here is the D.C. Chief Medical Examiner in his ruling on Sitnick. It's on paper here. And Johnson sent a letter to the acting Capitol Police Chief demanding demanding answers to his questions. He says the discrepancy led to the media to run with these false narratives about Sitnick getting bludgeoned with a fire extinguisher, which never happened. The police chief on the Capitol has until May 6th to respond. Do you think she actually will? And do you think we'll ever get anyone to admit that they got this story wrong or that they intentionally misled the public with what happened to Officer Sitnick?
Well, one of the problems we have on Capitol Hill is, like it or not, the American people, I think mistakenly, put Nancy Pelosi in charge of the House and put Chuck Schumer in charge of the Senate. They, in turn, have tremendous influence over our Capitol Police and everything that goes on with respect to any investigation concerning January 6th. And I hope Ron Johnson is able to get to the bottom of it, and I hope the Republicans and people who believe in law and order will get to the bottom of it. But we don't need propaganda. If there was an officer who was injured or killed in the line of duty in the United States Capitol, that's one thing. But if, as this latest information with the autopsy seems to suggest, it was wholly unrelated, it was death by natural causes, that's an entirely different thing. And we need to get to the bottom of it so that the American people know the truth, because certainly the socialist wing of society has been beating the drum about these protesters killing a Capitol Police officer. And if that's not true, that puts a different image on what transpired on January the 6th.
Yeah, we know it's not true. We have the death certificate from him, and his family has confirmed that he had strokes, and he died the day after the attack. So the mystery remains as why this is still being classified as it is by the Capitol Hill Police Department. Let's go back to the Arizona audit here. Some people think, it's been 5 months, maybe too late here, but President Biden is the president, and but we're counting these ballots here. And what do you expect to learn, and what do you think this audit will do for the American public, and especially Arizona Republicans who want to make sure that we have voter integrity?
Well, I am very much baffled by the position of the Socialist Democrats on this one. If the count was accurate, what do they have to lose? If the count was accurate, then all these claims of voter fraud and whatnot in Arizona are going to be, to some degree, debunked. But nonetheless, the Socialist Democrats are fighting an audit to determine whether the ballots that were cast, in fact, reflect the will of the voters of the state of Arizona. So I'm glad that the state legislature of Arizona has pursued this to the degree that they have, and I look forward to finding out the results of the audit of those paper ballots to determine whether the machines accurately recorded them or not. Let's be real clear what this is all about. In a republic, the key underpinning is that we have honest and accurate elections and that the public has confidence
That's the key.
that we have honest and accurate elections. And this ought to help clear up the issue as to whether there were honest and accurate elections, at least on this one part, in Arizona or not.
Yeah, and we're actually giving everybody a live look here at Maricopa County and the audit taking place, and that's what you see right here. And I'm guessing here, but I imagine the folks in red are the Republicans there, the folks in blue. They're observing this, and as we indicated before, very close, this is what Emerald was saying, very close inspections of this. So hopefully this will give folks a level of confidence that maybe they don't feel right now. Let's turn as well to the Ma'Khia Bryant travesty. Travesty is what I'm calling it because the way the story has been portrayed by some in the media is a gross distortion on what actually took place here. And we talked at length yesterday about LeBron James and this tweet that he posted threatening the officer, who the smarter folks are classifying him as a hero today, but we know what LeBron James said, threatening this guy here. And of course, we condemn this. Also, President Trump had this to say yesterday. He issued this statement here, quote, LeBron James should focus on basketball rather than presiding over the destruction of the NBA. His racist rants are divisive, nasty, insulting, and demeaning. He may be a great basketball player, but he is doing nothing to bring our country together. And they really aren't, despite promises from President Biden and a lot of Democrats for unity to, quote unquote, heal the soul of the nation. You know, they believe that the soul of this nation is racist, Congressman Brooks, and, you know, there's nothing that they can do to stop it, even though they are the ones with the platforms. Millions of people follow LeBron James, yet he is the oppressed one here.
I agree with President Trump 100%. He is spot on in his remarks. One of the problems we have when you've got this kind of physical altercation between law enforcement and others is there are too many people who are willing to jump to conclusions. I'm a former prosecutor. I've also been on the defense side of the bar in a courtroom. And it takes a while for the evidence to unfold such that the American people and judges and juries know what the true facts are so that they can render an appropriate verdict. I always advise caution and don't succumb to the fake news media, particularly in the left wing of the spectrum, that wants to portray something as one thing when it is not. And if you wait for the evidence, then we can make a more rational decision instead of an emotional one. And it's quite apparent that under these circumstances, LeBron James made an emotional decision, whether one that was based on thought, intellect, and facts.
Real quick, Congressman, we got to run here, but I want to talk about another statement that President Trump issued not too long ago, and that was his official endorsement for you for the Alabama Senate race.
Well, I'm thankful for it. President Trump was kind and generous enough to write a beautiful endorsement of Congressman Mo Brooks for the Alabama State Senate seat that is now going to be vacated by longtime serving Senator Richard Shelby. In Alabama, Donald Trump's endorsement is like its weight in gold. It's a tremendous benefit to have, and so I'm most appreciative. Things are looking really good. And if you don't mind me being a little bit motivated on a personal level, MoBrooks.com. MoBrooks.com. If you want a principled conservative in the United States Senate, someone who helped found the House Freedom Caucus, someone who not only campaigns as a conservative but actually votes and acts that way on the floor of the United States House, and you want that kind of person in the United States Senate, I ask for your help.
All right, Congressman Mo Brooks. Check him out at MoBrooks.com. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
MoBrooks.com. Congressman, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.